It's actually not that dramatic. Hi, my name's Janelle Riley. I'm an editor at Variety. I'm so thrilled to be here as a fan of animation in the West Side. Please join me in welcoming some of the people who made this film possible. It is already the biggest debut for a Netflix animated film and the most viewed. I'd like to welcome director David Wachtenheim. Director Robert Marianetti. Director and songwriter Robert Smigel. And writer-producer, voice of Leo, Adam Sandler.
There's a good sign for you.
Thank you so much for being, oh, there we go, I think it's on now.
Hello?
Hi, thank you so much for being here, you too.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. What a nice time. What a nice night. Beautiful theater, beautiful people.
Now, you are all incredibly accomplished, so I like to go back to the beginning and actually ask, what was your first job in this business? You know, did you start off in the mailroom of William Morris, or were you like, you know, if you say Saturday Night Live was your first job, I'm gonna be really jealous.
No.
Okay, good.
No, I'll let David go first. I can't wait to hear this.
In animation, my first job was on a movie called Rover Dangerfield. Which
Yes.
Rodney Dangerfield as a dog.
That's fantastic.
I was a PA. And that was my first.
Hey, give me a sample.
Robert one.
Robert one. My first job was at NYU. A college professor, John Kingmaker, let me work on a project of his, and
Like a movie, or?
it was industrial.
Oh, those
For-
are fun.
For laughter. Laughter is good medicine. It was by a medical or drug company or something. But anyways, yeah, and I worked on that, and it was really exciting, and that was 40 years ago this fall.
Wow.
And he moderated the thing in New York we did. So it was John came in.
Full circle.
It's full circle. Thanks.
Other Robert?
So this is our first showbiz job we're talking about?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, now you've made me curious.
Dental assistant doesn't count, okay. I worked on a show, when I was in Chicago, there was a Bozo show. It was incredibly popular. I didn't work on that, but there was a sidekick guy named Pat Hurley. Hi kids, I'm Pat Hurley. And they gave him a sketch comedy show for some reason that was to air on Sunday nights, and he saw our sketch show that I was in. He said, "You guys are offbeat," and he hired us. And so that was my first showbiz job, was writing sketches for this children's TV show star, and I got fired in about 3 weeks.
Why were you fired?
Huh?
Why were you fired?
I guess I wasn't offbeat enough.
Adam, for you?
Well, can we sit with that for a minute? Why do you think you were off? Why were you so scared?
It tortures me to this day.
That wasn't an affected voice, that was really the person's voice?
Hi guys, I'm Pat Hurley. Yeah, it was Chicago.
Sorry, too judgy. Go ahead.
Very good. I created Scooby-Doo. I was 4, and I was approached in a mall. They were like, "We want to entertain the world with a dog." I said, there you go. Thank you so much.
Do we have you to blame for Scrappy then?
Scrappy! I like Scrappy.
No.
Don't disrespect Scrappy. Scrappy has feelings.
Does he? Well,
I
again.
know that guy. I met you before. Nice to see you again.
Again, congratulations on a fantastic movie. This is not your first foray into animation. You've done this before. I'm curious, what draws you to this medium, and what was sort of the initial spark or inspiration about, I'm so in love, I love lizards anyway, but this lizard looks like my dog, and I just want to pinch his cheeks.
Very beautiful. Yeah. What kind of dog?
He's called a pocket pit. He's a pit bull, but he's very stout and muscular.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like Marianetti.
Yeah.
But no, the lizard idea is purely from my friend Robert Smigel. Round of applause for Robert. He loves that. He's over the television.
The lizard idea came, Adam and Paul Sato had written a script about, Adam had the initial idea of, he wanted to write about 5th graders and the transition to middle school and the stress they feel, and he wanted to make a musical. And they had written some stuff, and but it was a different story, and there was a class pet like in the background, and it just triggered this whole idea of the class pet who's seen it all in 70 years and is incredibly, well, you just saw the movie, so it's great. But yeah, it came kind of accidentally from what Adam's first instinct was, his first script.
You made it better. Thank you. And the look of it,
My pleasure.
but the look of the lizard of Leo,
Yeah,
David
drew the.
was influenced by who? David, come on, tell him.
I did a bunch of sketches of lizards, but since you're supposed to be an old Jewishy kind of lizard, I should have patterned him after my dad.
Oh, that's so sweet. This may sound like a strange question, but did you study actual lizards and turtles? Because some of these moves are very accurate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we looked at lizards and turtles and tried to. Yeah, we wanted it to feel not cartoony, but kind of, in a sense, get some sort of real lizard action in there. So yeah, we looked at a bunch of lizards.
And the walking, there was the lizard walk like on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was I played them a clip. Like we all worked on Saturday Night Live. Obviously, we did cartoons there. But after that, we did a show called TV Funhouse on Comedy Central, and there was one scene. Thank you. Oh, there you go. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Really nerdy crowd. I love it. So we did a sketch show. We did a show, and there was a scene and a lot of puppets interacting with live animals, and we did a show where Sally Jesse Raphael, who was a big talk show host, actually appeared, and it was like a lizard makeover show or something. And we had a real lizard, like the whole joke was like a surprise lizard was gonna come out and for this puppet lizard, and the lizard took forever here he is, the lizard. And then it was just a theater of pain joke of just watching a real lizard enter and go incredibly slowly to a seat. And so yeah, we studied that to get kind of a feel of how slow the lizard walks.
Yeah, and the scene where he's escaping in the filters, he's getting caught and scrambling on the floor. There was actually a video that we found of that. Somebody found and showed us video.
Aaron Sullivan, script supervisor.
The
Yeah.
lizard scrambling on hard floor, just can't get traction.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
hilarious.
that's awesome.
So he's
The other thing I want to add is that Adam, when we first met him, said, you know, I want a big heavy set lizard, like, you know, with a pot belly. And one of the things Adam acted out was, you know, his arms are in like that, and then keep his arms towards his elbows towards his chest, and like, you know, use his hands. And that was from Adam.
I wondered about that because I mean it as a compliment to say that like I believe you're a lizard.
I do too,
Or
yeah.
in the movie, I should say. I was wondering if you get in that booth and you start physically acting it out.
You know, we
Your tongue.
get just 30-foot tongue. That's the only thing I got. Yeah. No, but I did like being this personality, and we all like this guy's personality, Leo, and just gentle, but you know, like matter of fact, a little kind of sick of things and bored with stuff, but when he gets to know the kids, how much, you know, he's no filter, kind of tells them the truth, the children, what he's feeling about them and what he thinks could help them, and it's very. I liked being that guy. I like being that lizard.
And a little bit of the voice, like originally I pictured like sort of a Peter Falk kind of guy who talks like this. And right before the table read, Adam's like, I'm gonna do Bernie, buddy. I'll try Bernie. And Bernie was Adam's manager, and he was a guy we all imitated at Saturday Night Live. You have to understand. You perform a service and I receive a fee of 10%, and this is how it works. So he had this explaining quality to him.
Yeah.
Know-it-all kind of thing.
I think there's this misperception about voice acting that you just get to roll in your pajamas and, you know, do a couple takes and go home, and it is one of the hardest things you can actually do.
He
what
pretty
is-
much rolls up.
Yeah, I'm a roller.
He's wearing his pajamas right now.
Hard for you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. You know, I do work hard.
Yeah.
I do. Thank you for trying to get that out there. But no, we really, I mean, look, for me, it's one thing, but every voice in the movie, every nuance of the movie, we are psychotic, all of us, and we want it to be as good as it can be, and as real as it can be, and as funny as it can be. So there's not like one take from anybody. There's hundreds of takes from
Yeah, but
every
for
actor.
certain actors,
Yes.
like you, and this has happened in Hotel Transylvania too, because we would always hear like, oh, these are agonizing, these sessions, and then, you know, Tom Hanks tells stories about how he'll say a line, and then there's like a huddle of like 10 minutes, and then they come back, okay. But with us, I think it's partly because we just know each other so
Right,
well.
yeah, yeah.
And like that old John Huston quote, like directing, 75% of directing is casting. And it's like, we just know what Adam's gonna bring, and he really didn't need to do a lot of takes.
Well, thank you, and but by the way, Bill Burr, Cecily Strong, holy
Same
no.
thing. I mean,
They
these
were
are like people we
ridiculous.
know and love, and
Yes.
they're perfect for the role. Cecily Strong, we didn't know what she was gonna do. We invited her to the table read, and she like stole the table read.
Oh,
And we
she's
were
so
like,
good, so real.
And do you
Yeah.
actually get, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, the other thing is this was all done through COVID. Like, Adam was recording some of the stuff in his home.
Oh, that's right.
Bill recorded in
Everybody,
his
yeah.
bedroom. His little daughter was running around with a towel, it was maybe Halloween of 2021 or so. She had a towel around her neck, and he didn't realize she was running behind him as he was recording lines. Great stuff like that.
Oh, that's funny.
So do you get to play off the other actors, or are you doing this?
Bill and I did some
Okay.
together. We were in the room together, and we, you know, I say loads of it. We wrote the movie, but Bill riff stuff. We were going back and forth, and I
Yeah.
just ultimately sat back and watched Bill just go boom, 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 boom. He was so
Yeah, he's
carefree
brilliant.
and so funny and so fresh, and was stuff that the turtle would say for sure. And I was just in my head as a person who was helping produce the movie, just like, good God, this is nice to get so much bonus jokes and bonus real talk from the man. He was smooth.
Can you use that though? Because Bill is filthy.
No, he knew that he knew what
Okay.
this was. Yeah.
He worked within the parameters, like that joke about I'd kill for lateral movement, that was.
Yeah.
that was all him.
There's a line at the very end, at the very end of the movie, he goes, keep it clean, keep it clean.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
when they're being thrown around in the.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I mean, being an Adam Sandler film, we know we're gonna get big laughs, but I think that a lot of us were kind of surprised by how heartfelt and actually like, I would want my kid to see this, you know, and cause that transition from middle school to high school is insane, and I really think that this tackles it so well and so emotionally. Can you talk about balancing that tone, like having those big laughs, but also, you know, I don't think you set out to like necessarily like make a message film, but you kind of did.
I think, honestly, like when I first had this premise, mostly I thought of it as comedic because I loved kind of juxtaposing this worn out old lizard with these kids with their kind of neuroses, that the 10-year-old kid who thinks that like a really minute problem is the worst thing in the world, you know? And I love the idea that they're telling him really minuscule stuff, and he's like, okay, no, I got that one. I heard about that kid, 1963, you know? And then, but then, as I was writing that first version of this draft, I kind of fell in love with all these characters, and like you start remembering more serious aspects to, you know, their fears, and it just made natural sense to get a little more real and serious and less trivial as the movie went along. And same thing with Leo, like then you start falling in love with this lizard, and you're taking his journey. You know, we're all crotchety old men, and so like you start taking his journey, and you're feeling like what he's feeling, like, oh man, this is making my life meaningful. This is cool.
I can't believe you made me fall in love with the teacher, because I was ready to hate her, and then I fell in love with her, then I
yes.
hated her,
Yeah,
and
well,
then it brought me back around.
she hated herself at
Yeah, I know.
making that little move on Leo, but she felt it enough to want to help him.
By the way, I just learned this is your feature directorial debut for the three of you. Is that correct?
Yeah, all three of us, yeah.
I mean, was it something you were looking to do, to make a full-length animated film, or was it more out of
These guys have directed, like they directed a great HBO special with Elizabeth Swados. But as far as
Elizabeth Swados was a great lady, by the
She was your
way.
teacher.
She was my teacher at NYU, yeah, I loved her.
Yeah.
Amazing lady. I was so close to her as a student. She was one of the nicest persons I've ever met.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
And she suffered from depression.
Yep.
And so she did a book for a student who was suffering from depression, and we adapted that book for
Wow.
HBO with music and.
I remember that, man. I didn't know that was you guys. It's amazing.
You didn't know that until right now?
I don't talk to them.
He's just a man.
They,
I just say hit record, man. Let me do my thing. That's cool.
Was this a medium, though, that you were looking to make a feature in, or is it more the project just sort of came your way?
We've been in animation for 30
Yeah,
years.
these
so
guys
this
are my
is-
guys.
That's all we know.
But to make
We
a
wanted
feature.
to do a feature, yeah, we've always wanted to do a feature, just,
And we
getting
worked
involved
together
in
on the Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah, we brought them into Hotel Transylvania too.
As old men, like, we're in our 50s, and Adam calls us and goes, "Hey, how'd you like to come to Hollywood?" It's like, what? Like,
True.
you usually don't get that
Yeah.
call when you're our age,
No, I mean, it's really a wonderful thing that these guys, they did incredible work with me for years, and but it seemed like this was not something that was going to be in the cards, and here they are at this age, killing it. I'm very
Yeah.
proud to work with them.
Congratulations.
Alan and Robert for trusting us.
Absolutely.
I want to touch on the songs because a couple of them are earworms and I've been humming them. And the songs, what I love about it is that they play an integral part in the plot. They're not just, there as placeholders or because you want it to be a musical. Can you talk about how you sort of wrote those? Were they in the script or did you sort of have a song will be inserted
So
here
weird
later?
because some of them I can't even remember how I wrote them because I don't do this. It's not.
That's
I
what
mean, I
wondered.
kind of do it. I wrote like Christmas Time for the Jews on Saturday Night Live, and I wrote a whole album of. I just have like weird.
Triumph, the whole
Triumph did a
Triumph
whole
album.
album, and I did write all the music on that, and it like.
He's an incredible
I can't
songwriter.
I can't name any of the titles of any of those songs.
She Comes Home to Me, you wrote.
Oh
My
yeah,
Filthy
yeah.
Tune.
Well, it was your idea, and I wrote that
You wrote
song.
the melody. He's an incredible.
She comes home to me. It was about a man.
Oh, no, not
Can't
that.
even.
Don't
Not
say
even
it.
the premise.
Nobody
Okay.
needs that.
Nobody needs to.
But he's a filthy man. But he's a great songwriter. Every genre you crush.
I don't know. I just and I can't play a musical instrument, so I just sing these things into GarageBand and stuff.
What?
Yeah,
Garage
I
band?
just mumble them. Sometimes late at night I had to work, and if I had the tune in my head, I had to sing it right away or I'd forget it.
Yeah.
One time, the extra time, I wrote that on an airplane, like from LA to New York, and like I'm trying to sing it into my computer, and the air, it's like, and I can't be too loud. I want to be loud enough to hear it later, but I'm with strangers, and so that was a challenging one to remember the song.
And not just
afterward.
strangers, like, when he first played the songs for David and I, it was him in his bedroom, like, under the covers, so he didn't want to wake up his wife.
Oh, yeah, a lot of whispering.
Yeah, a lot of whispering, bathrooms also.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to wake them up, and every song was written like you're saying, like the story dictated the song, and the lyrics, and then the music just came to me every time, except for When It's Us. That's the only song that actually I had a melody for before. It was laying around in my head. Sometimes I just walk around and there's a melody in my head, and usually it sucks, but in that case it's like, wait a minute, this is kind of good. So I sang it to myself, and I actually wanted to put it at the end of Hotel Transylvania, but they had this very fun what's the name of that group, Fifth Harmony? The one that Camila Cabello.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So they used that, and then so it was just. So then I rewrote it for this thing. And I'm very happy that
Oh, it's amazing.
to have it.
I don't think I've ever asked, Adam, but you, music has been a big part of your career over the
Yeah.
years. Do you have
Yeah.
any formal training? Because you actually have a really good voice.
Thank you.
Well, he's also a great guitarist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you,
Pretty
you
good. Not a
I
real
mean,
guitarist
for
would say so.
For a
but
comedy person, you're like
very good
best.
comedic guitar player.
Let me just say one more thing. My songwriting, when I took that on, I thought I was going to write all the songs with this guy because he's a brilliant songwriter, and I just got on a roll. But I was definitely in my head influenced by his songwriting, because one of the magic things about the way he writes songs is he like gets to the point and gets out, and
Yeah.
he has this amazing skill at kind of writing just minimalist, like exactly what the song requires, and hitting the jokes and getting out. And so like you notice that like some of the songs only last like a minute or they get cut off, and that was all like, you know, trying to channel his magic. So I just want to say that.
Thank you. Thank you.
But man, it was amazing stuff when you get a gift. You wrote the song in Hotel Transylvania too, when I sang.
At the end, the sing song?
The sing song you wrote.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not a
yeah.
sweet lullaby I sang, like
Oh,
when
Daddy's
Robert.
Girl, Daddy's
Daddy's
Girl,
Girl.
yeah.
So whenever Robert gives you a song gift, my gosh, what a great feeling. He used to help me out when I was on Saturday Night Live too, with my songs. But my music's, when I was young, my mother thought my voice was golden. My mom's still alive, but my father isn't. But my father would look at me when my mother and father were in the front seat driving, and I was in the back seat, and you hear my mother go, "Sing Johnny Mathis." My father would be like, "Again, we gotta hear this shit." And I'd be in the back going, "Chances are." My mom's smiling, my father's staring like, how long is this song gonna go for?
That's amazing.
but even then when you're mimicking, you sound like Johnny Mathis.
I
You
could
have
do
a
it
great
some.
voice.
I sang. Maybe a little training when I went to NYU. This great guy Alex Yancey, who unfortunately passed away. He was one of my teachers and used to give me singing lessons and try to get me to hit a B flat in Maria. The song Maria, there's a high B flat, and I'd say, "How do I get to that?" He'd be like, "Come over, man." And he taught me, and I could when I was at NYU, I could destroy that B flat, that high B flat. Now I can't get there. I can get to maybe an A flat. Anybody here hit a B flat? Let me hear you. Come on. Stop. Right there.
And what does keep drawing you back to the medium of animation? It's
Weight gain.
yeah.
Just so nice to go in a movie and have the same weight the whole time. When I'm shooting a movie, you guys, if you pay attention to any of my movies, there is maybe a 12-pound swing. When you do an animated movie, you get locked in.
Well, I like that because Leo is actually kind of heavy set.
He's a big fella.
Yeah, he got into character.
Was there anything you couldn't include in a film like this because, you know, maybe it just didn't fit the story, or even if it was a cool fact about lizards, there just wasn't a place for it?
I mean, we cut the movie down, you know, absolutely. Even like in the last month and a half of production.
That's right, yeah,
we cut
yeah.
like 4 or 5 minutes out of the movie. We just like, a couple of things, you saw that the song ended, you saw the actual end of the song at the very end of the movie.
The animatics.
Yeah, we just wanted to get to Leo and Squirtle faster, so we had that whole song written all the way through, and then we just like, Adam figured out that we could get out where we did, and I think it helps the movie, but we were in love with the whole song, and it's very nice that we put the animatic up. We're really happy about that because the storyboard artists on this movie were incredible.
Oh yeah.
Incredible, and it was my favorite part of the whole process.
Yeah,
Working with
yeah.
storyboard artists is just something I never got to do before, and it's amazing. It's like having 15 other writers and directors, and so many camera angles. They're just magnificent. And our head of story is right over there, Ken Morrissey.
Stand up.
And his wife, buddy, Ken Morrissey, who is another brilliant board artist.
And Ken boarded that scene that's at the very end, the black and white footage. That was Ken's work too, so we
Yeah.
had to pay tribute to Ken. So.
Because I know virtually nothing about, you know, the nuts and bolts of animation, what was the hardest scene to animate? For whatever reason.
I gave the animators.
Oh, yeah.
Animators
Yeah,
with the,
I
are you
saw.
talking about Don't Cry?
Yes.
Don't Cry is, I like, one of my favorite moments in the whole movie. And, but, there was a lot of like, how are you gonna convey that message in a kid's movie? And, you know, people got really upset, and Adam helped me a lot, like finesse it. He came up with that great line about, you're just trying to, what was the line about?
About the grandpa.
Yeah. You're just doing what my grandpa did, pretending not to know. That was like such a great solution, because we wanted to make it clear that she was amused and playing a trick on him at the end. And, you know, so that people would, but it was so really gratifying on the other hand, like when we played it in previews, to hear little kids laugh their asses off at that song. That's the hardest the little kids laughed in the whole movie, was at that song. Because even, I just think kids are smarter than we give them credit for. And like they're laughing at like the cliche being, you know, punctured at that moment. They're used to like sweet lullabies, and it made them so happy to hear this turn in the song. But one thing I did agonize over was like Mia's reactions. So we had a brilliant storyboard for this, and like we played the entire movie. In fact, that's how good the storyboard artists were.
Yeah.
We played the entire movie as an animatic for the first preview.
Oh, yeah.
And the numbers they got back were still the highest numbers that they'd ever gotten for an animated movie. And that's like, how about that? Getting storyboard artists to carry a screening like that. It
Little
was
kids
amazing.
totally followed the whole entire movie with the storyboard.
Yeah, but then I got a little superstitious about the storyboards, like, and in particular in that scene, like, just getting Mia's, it wasn't like broad animation, but just getting her reactions to feel like, you know, the appropriate level of confusion. We didn't want people to feel sorry for her, you know, and we just like kept referencing.
Yeah, I remember we always would say, well, wait a minute, what did the storyboards do?
Yeah.
And we always kept back to the
Drove them
storyboard,
crazy.
yeah.
The one thing I wanted to add about that is that it didn't end at the animation then, because then the special effects crew took over, and there's
Yes.
tears in her eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And we had to
that's
get the
amazing.
tears just right. And it was. And
Yeah.
Robert kept on like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
we gotta get the tears. No, it's too much of a droplet. It's gotta be dry at this stage. And
Sometimes it does make a difference.
It
Sometimes
did.
you're just
It does.
insane.
No,
But in this case, I think
made-
it did. I
yes,
think it did.
So you kept going back to them over and over again with more notes, essentially?
Oh yeah, the special effects. Also, Adam came up with the idea, like when he wipes the nose with the tail, and then like
on the pillow.
wipes it against the pillow, and we just like he wanted to get that little wet mark in there, and we wanted it to be just right. It looked too much like an X, like we didn't want it to
Right.
confuse people. And then, you know, that's just, it's so gratifying when you like you hear the laughs after working that hard on a detail like that.
And you're so right to give credit to kids, because they really do know quality
Oh,
movies.
yeah,
My
yes.
godson, who's named Leo, loves this movie so much,
Wow.
and I tried
Yeah.
to make him watch a different animated film that I won't go into, and 5 minutes in, he turned to me and said, "Can we watch a good movie?" So they know.
Amazing.
Yeah, even if you think
I-
it'll just entertain them.
Same
'cause
thing
it's
with like
animated.
the jokes about parents and stuff.
Yeah.
Like when my kids were like 8 years old, they could tell like when a
Yes.
parent was being like, "I don't want the substitute," like that kind of thing. They were
They get it.
perceptive enough to be able to spot kind of entitled parents or bad teachers, you know. And so I feel like we don't give them enough credit as an audience sometimes.
And I just want to point out, because the end of the movie, we learn Leo has another 50 years to live.
Yeah.
Would you be open to checking in on his next adventures?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
yes.
a perfect, Netflix is here, right?
Yeah, they know,
Yeah.
I called them this morning. I was like, let's get going. They said, they were a little like, just give us a few days to relax, and I just started screaming. We gotta do it now, we're rolling. And then I cursed. You guys wanna hear that?
Yes.
I know, there's too many nice people. Those two right there
I
are
was just-
making me nervous. I don't wanna curse in front of you two.
Well, we're not gonna do audience questions because there's a reception next door.
What? There's no audience questions? We
They
going
can
love
ask-
audience
they can ask you
questions.
questions in person.
Come on, do it like this.
Yeah,
That'll be
we
more
love
fun.
audience
Do
questions.
audience
Stand
right here.
questions.
All right.
Yeah, well, hang on, I'm sorry, that nice lady was you were right there. Come on, I feel bad, she's so nice.
All right, her first and then you.
This one.
Yeah, he was our master of ceremonies at our wedding.
Oh, wow.
And he was so excited about helping hold the balloon that we made in the Macy's parade. And I was wondering how many others were involved with that.
Oh, with
Yeah,
the-
hang on, you're right, let's just do the questions and
All right, we'll see you next door. This is the Leo balloon at the Macy's parade.
Leo, yeah, good
Leo
job,
balloon.
buddy.
It was amazing.
You actually got to hold the balloon?
These two
It
did,
was
yeah.
It was a bucket list experience that we never thought would be on a bucket
Right.
list. To
Yeah.
have a balloon and to hold the balloon, it wasn't even a consideration that we would ever
so cool.
do something like that. We were able to do it. It was really fun. It really
I
was.
would think so.
The greatest thing was watching the faces of the kids as you walked by, because their mouths were wide open and their eyes were so wide. It was really a special thing.
That's so cool. So we promised this gentleman, go ahead.
Was there ever a point in the writing of the story, like in the drafting, where it was considered to have him actually die?
Ooh, you wanted them to kill Leo?
I will admit that there was a moment where I thought it would be kind of cool and heartbreaking and all that, and you think about things like Old Yeller and like that's kind of why they're classics. Like if Old Yeller lived, who would be talking about? We wouldn't be talking about Old Yeller right now. Not that we are, but we didn't want to do that.
We did talk about Hammy 3.
Hammy 3, yeah, we
Oh,
ended
yeah.
up just having Hammy 3 then.
It was a memorable moment for the
Yeah.
pink eye.
Yeah, and it was like a fleeting thought, but no, we love Leo and, like I said.
And I understand you can buy stuffed Leos over at like shopnetflix.com.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sell that merch. Well, again, please join us next door. Again, congratulations on a beautiful movie.
Thank